I have a priest friend who had to go and see a doctor and get his eye surgery, and so he was very, very scared. And as he was there, and they're having a little small chat, and doctor says, "Well, do you have any questions?" So he asked the doctor, "Would I be able to play the piano after the surgery?" And the doctor says, "Of course you'd be able to play the piano." And the priest said, "This is amazing. I'm going to tell all my friends to come and see you for the surgery." And the doctor said, "Well, thank you. But what makes you say that?" And the priest says, "Well, I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. You told me I can play after the surgery." You know, the truth is, when we read the gospel today, it seems just like one miracle, but it's actually more than one miracle. 3 miracles combined into one. And as you can see, this man who was deaf, right? So he couldn't hear. What happens to people who can't hear? They can't talk. And even if they were to talk, they sound a little awkward because they've never heard words properly pronounced for them. So what happened is that his hearing is restored. Whatever was damaged or incomplete was fully healed and restored so he can hear. But at the same time, he begins to talk. That's another miracle. You see, if I've never heard people speak, like if I were to go to another country where I don't know the language, so when people start to speaking, it does not mean that I can go to another foreign country and start speaking foreign language. In the same way, a man who has never heard people talk, it might as well have sounded like a foreign language. But the fact that he was able to comprehend and have total control of his vocal cord and the tongue and being able to speak was another miracle. But the third miracle is that the man who often, because he couldn't speak and he couldn't listen, what happens? His life is probably very very lonely existence. Have you ever felt like you were talking to someone and you connected at a very deeper level, and then you felt like, I feel understood by this person? Well, he could have never had that conversation with anyone. So as a result, in Jesus healing him physically, Jesus also healed his inner wounds and inner healing. But why would Jesus tell him not to go and talk about this miracle that has taken place? Isn't that a good thing? Of course it is, right? But the reason why Jesus was actually telling him not to say this is, if I were just to use an analogy, I remember doing a funeral some years ago, and the family said, "Well, we don't know how many people are going to show up." You know, he was a quiet man. He just went to work, he came home, he was just quiet. You know, he didn't really make an effort to communicate to his wife and his children, and he would stay home in his room, his office, and then continue to work. He was a professor, and so unbeknownst to the family was that when he went to work, he was articulate, brilliant professor. And he was like the rock star. He was like the Wayne Gretzky when he went to work. And as a result, everybody loved him. So on the funeral day, the church was packed. Over 1,000 people showed up. His former students, his students, and his colleagues, they're all there mourning for the loss of their beloved professor and a colleague. Too bad that the family didn't know that side of him. In the same way, I can say that you're, as parents, you know, you do many things for your children, right? You are the bank of mom and dad. You are the Uber driver. You are professional cleaning services, and you cook for them. You do all of that, right? But do you really want to be known by your children as the Uber driver or the bank? No. You want to be known as mom and dad for your identity, right? And your mom and dad who loves their children. It's exactly the same thing. Jesus did not want to be reduced to a miracle worker who is a prophet mighty indeed and who's capable of doing all these things. Jesus wanted to be known for who he is. Our Savior, the Son of God, who loves us. The mission in Jesus' life is to lay down his life, to suffer and die for us, so he can save all of our lives. And our mission in life is also to proclaim the good news of the fact that God has sent his Son who loves us. That's the good news. You see, there's the wealthiest man in the world, I'm sure you know him, Elon Musk, right? There was an interview where an interviewer was asking him a question. Elon, you're like the wealthiest guy in the world. Your net worth is over $1 trillion. You don't ever have to work, and your children, grandchildren, for many, many, many generations. Why do you go to work? What makes you get up? And being a smart man that he is, he gives a very nerdy answer. Basically like, well, the space exploration and a whole bunch of stuff, right? So what he means is he feels he has a mission in life. He feels that there's purpose to his life. That's why he gets up. That's why he does what he does, even though he doesn't need to work. How about us? What drives us? Do we have a purpose? Do we have a mission in life? I can tell you one thing for sure. Out of all the things that we can ever have in this life, one of the most important things that we cannot live without is love. Because love is powerful. Love alone can change us. Love alone can heal all wounds, all of our inner wounds. So let us make the love of God our mission and our purpose to make Jesus and his love known to the world.